The owner of this 126 coupe has been fighting a very strange problem for at least the last 6 months. Anytime the battery is connected now, the car behaves as if the key is on in position 2. Initially, it didn't start out this bad. Initially, it just was intermittent. Occasionally, he couldn't turn the engine off. And strangely enough, the solution to that problem was to turn the indicator on. So his fix for the last 6 months was to leave the indicator on, and that's how he could ensure the car wouldn't stay energized when he turned it off at night. Now, first of all, I suspected it might be the ignition switch, and this is it completely disconnected, and it made no difference whatsoever. After a bit more troubleshooting, we found out that the problem was isolated to circuit number 15. This is a permanently powered circuit, and here you can see the accessories that are powered from circuit number 15. Immediately I suspected it was something to do with those seatbelt handover mechanisms because the passenger side one was misbehaving anyway. To do more testing, we had to move the car. That's not a problem because now it's able to start and shut down.
Are you rattled? I'm going to swap the chain tensioner over.
After having more access to the electronics under the front seat, I determined that there was in fact nothing wrong with the seatbelt handover mechanism. The problem with it is that the system thinks that there's always someone sitting in that passenger seat. That's a fault we need to look at for another day, but that's not the cause of the problem on circuit 15. To be sure, I completely disconnected both sides with the mechanisms. They were not connected whatsoever. There's 2 connectors to disconnect, one at the relay box and one here, which basically powers the motor, etc. With both sides disconnected, the fault on circuit 15 persisted, so it's absolutely nothing to do with this. So I just put it back together and did more testing. Beginning to run out of ideas, so I turned my attention to the fuse box. And luckily I did, because this is exactly where the problem is you're about to see. Decided to remove the connections on circuit number 15 just to have a quick look at the quality of the insulation. I'm glad that I did, because here is the problem right here. The shrink tubing on one of the circuits on fuse number 15 was broken through. And what it was doing is actually shorting onto circuit number 7. 7 contains the horn and the indicator circuit. So basically, the permanently powered circuit 15 was in addition, intermittently to begin with, powering circuit number 7. And that was basically not allowing the engine to shut down. I fixed this by putting not 1 but 2 layers of heat shrink tubing back on that connector and putting the vehicle back together. Here you can see the 2 items connected to fuse number 7, or 3. If you have the temperature gauge installed. Now that it's all back together, we can now test it and see that the problem is completely solved.